Have a couple free agent names to mention here. There are a couple interesting stories I found. A couple names here as well. Pete Prisco's put together his top 100 NFL free agents at CBS Sports, and there's a name that I haven't heard much, thought about much until right now, because it obviously makes sense given a couple different factors with the Bills. And that's John Franklin Myers. He is a Broncos defensive end. And what do the Bills need? And what might the Bills dip into? Denver, right?
Yep.
He's an inside player who can push the pocket, 14 and a half sacks the last 2 seasons, and he's 29 years old. So if the Bills are looking for edge help, like, hey, Jim Leonard, what do you think of this guy, John Franklin Myers? We could also have, like, just JFM. We could have a guy. We could have a three initial guy. Be nice to have one of those. JFM. Prisco ranks Connor McGovern as the 9th overall free agent on the market.
Well, all right.
He is, however, the second center because Tyler Linderbaum is the number 1 free agent.
He's a free agent?
Yes, he is.
Did not realize that
he's
a
the
free
number 1 free agent on the market. 26 years old and unsigned.
All right.
Boye Mafe is 11th. Devin Lloyd, 12th. Like if the Bills want to land a big name or a highly rated defensive front 7 guy, I think there are a lot of options in free agency. Just going down the list of who could fill this. You see tons of edge, tons of linebacker, tons of defensive tackle. What's the right fit? Like, we'll see about that. There's a Chiefs linebacker, Leo Chenal as well, 25 years old. Started for the Chiefs last 3 seasons, good against the run. He might be one you could add. So free agency will get started, and the Bills will. I think they'll be active. They, of course,
they have a whole front 7 almost to build out, don't they?
Yes.
I mean, they need how many defensive ends do they need? 4?
Probably.
How many defensive tackles do they need? 3? 2 or 3?
Yeah.
They need a middle linebacker.
Yeah, they need linebackers.
They need one starting linebacker at least.
They need linebackers / edge.
Because I have heard
they need 3 Michael Hoyts.
Yeah. Because I have heard a lot of this scheme will be good for Dorian Williams and also Joe Andreessen. Like this is the one he played in college.
Yeah.
So and he's going to be a reserve. He's going to be a special teams guy. So I've kind of got my backups or a couple of backups. So I need an important linebacker that's going to be on the field, and I need everyone not named Greg Rousseau, even Hoyt. I was very excited about and think he played really well in the 6 quarters that he played. But there's some questions about that. What is he off a torn Achilles? When does he come back? When Von Miller had his major injury, he came back
and he was not effective.
He couldn't do anything for an entire year because he just wasn't healthy enough yet. And you don't know what Hoyt's going to be coming off an Achilles like that. I would hope that it goes well. So because there's a question mark on him, and he's the only guy other than Rousseau at that position that's really under contract that you would expect to make the team, they need like a whole defensive end room, a whole edge rusher room, more so. So they got to do free. That's where, like, Harmon makes a point about receiver, they're double dipping. Like, that'd be nice to double dip at receiver. They have to triple dip at defensive end.
Well, let's think.
They have to sign a free agent and probably draft 2 guys over the course of the whole thing.
Let's have an exercise here. How many moves, players, signings will they make? Because there's a thing that happens, of course. We often talk about receiver, Alec Pierce. We're going to talk with a Colts guest at 8:30 about 2 things, Alec Pierce and Michael Pittman. We're going to talk about drafting a receiver, right? Like, okay, that's normal. That's how that goes. We're going to talk about maybe signing a receiver, maybe trading for a receiver. And every time I do that, I'll get a person that writes to me, fix the defense. Like, oh, yeah. Why, is someone suggesting to not do that? Mm-hmm. How many new players will there be? I've got a draft pick in every round, except there's 2 in the 7th and none in the 7 draft picks right now. Okay, that's 7. 7 people. Mm-hmm. How many free agents will they sign? Are we looking at just guys in free agency? Is it?
And you mean like important players?
I mean guys
right? guys that will make you would expect to make the roster.
Last year it was Hoyt, Ogunjobi, Bosa,
Palmer.
They signed a safety last year. Who else did they sign?
Want to count Elijah Moore?
I do. Sure.
So
yes.
It was $5 million.
Sure. Elijah Moore. Like they made.
That's about it.
They made a number of moves last year. They added 12 to 13 people that by the
Right.
Start a training camp. It's here are my 5 free agents and my 7 draft picks I'm looking at. Is the number this year going to be like 13 to 14 people? Like if I'm over here talking about drafting a pair of receivers in the first and the third round and you think that stops them from, finger quotes, fixing the defense, I think you are underestimating how many people will be added to this room, added to this team.
Well, another way to look at it is how many people on their free agent list would you expect back? Because if it's not many of them, they need to replace to some degree all of them. You need to replace, and the list is too long for me to go through. It's like 23 names. But the biggest names are who? You've got at the top of the list McGovern and David Edwards, and I'm replacing minimum one of those guys, right? And maybe that's Alec Anderson, and then you bring in a different Alec Anderson to be the new Alec Anderson. So that could be easy. You got to replace Daquan Jones and Larry Ogunjobi, right? That's expected. That's 2 defensive tackles.
Yep.
AJ Epenesa's not coming back, right?
No, I don't know. I think I read that he would like to come back, but
doesn't he seem like the type of player that doesn't fit at all what they're about to do?
Sure. But I bet they have plans and then they have backup plans. Joey Bosa is a great example. Is Joey Bosa coming back?
I don't think so.
Are you sure?
He was terrible in the last 9 games of the season.
He was serviceable earlier in the season. He gave them forced fumbles. He gave them decent snaps. He will no longer be asked to set the edge in the same way, right? Is Joey Bosa a better fit in the next level, the next version of the defense? The only reason I bring that up is they might go into the offseason saying, like, we're not going to sign Joey Bosa back. We're not going to bring him back. And then free agency happens. Everyone's left out there, and it's, hey, Bosa's still there. Should we give him a call? He likes it here. Yeah. I don't know if they think he's a better fit. His market value, The Athletic has done a bunch of market value for free agents, and it was 1 year, $11.5 million. And if they want,
it's a little less than what he had last year.
It's less than last year. They're already carrying a $7 million hit for him this year because of the void years and all. Could they not just be like, all right, you know what?
How does that work? If they wanted to sign him to a 1 year, $11 million deal, do they only have to pay an extra $4 million because of the void year? Or they would have to pay an additional 11 on top of what they're already doing?
They would probably do what they just did, which is, all right, fine, 4 of it on this year and 7 into next year. They'd end up paying a lot more because they're paying the dead money no matter what.
In his last 9 games, he had 1 sack and 5 pressures.
Yeah.
He only had 5 pressures in the last 9 games of the season. I don't know how you could think that player and what happened to him? What happened in a lot of these seasons that he played in LA? His body couldn't hold up. And why would I expect that to be any different? So I'm not saying it couldn't happen. I wouldn't be excited at all if they were bringing him back.
I'm not telling you to be excited. To me, that's how different is Joey Bosa than bringing back. I mean, we have our fun with former Bill, future Bill, but like Jordan Poyer came back. We thought he was washed and he fit into a defense. Does Jim Leonard look at Bosa and think like, listen, I got $6 million for him if he wants that? The Athletic can say his market value is 11, but if the entire league looks at him and sees what you just saw and says, I don't think it's there anymore, maybe the Bills just say, you want to run it back one more time?
So that's a maybe. Like,
sure.
To me,
I think it's a fallback. The whole point is, like, anybody that every time I get fix the defense, like no one is saying to not do that. They're going to need to make moves on both sides of the ball, and I just think receiver gets more attention because it's more specific. If you needed to build an entire offense and get one piece on the defense, we would, focus in on which defensive end that should be. Should that be Hendrickson? Should that be Crosby? Meanwhile, for the Bills' defense, I just feel like the moves are so much volume-based.
Yeah, they're volume.
You need a lot.
And that's the point about like the free agent guys, like guys you're replacing, Damar Hamlin and Jordan Poyer and Tre'Davious White and Matt Milano and Shaq Thompson. And these are all guys that played for you last year on defense.
And Thompson wants to be back, but he wants his salary to be much different than it was last year.
And of that list, like include Bosa and Epinesa in that list too, with Poyer and Milano and Thompson and all of them. Like a lot of them might want to come back, and they might bring back a couple of them. They're not bringing back the majority of that list.
You would hope.
Most of them are not going to be here. So those guys need to be replaced. Offensively, it's just my 2 interior linemen, and it's my 2 big-bodied special teams receivers. That's it. Like you got to replace Gabe Davis and Tyrell Shavers because of injury, and you probably have to replace your 2 interior linemen. I think, though, what on offense, it's not the volume, but it's the level of it, right?
Yeah.
I need a big move on offense. I need a lot of moves on defense.
Get a call in here. Gino in Amherst. Hey, Gino, good morning.
Guys, how's it going?
Good.
So, what do you guys think about Tyreek Hill coming to the Bills? I think, we need an explosive wide receiver like we used to have with Diggs that can, really, help us in the deep game and open up the place for Kincaid and Shakir, open up the run game a little more for Cook. And I think that's we lose these games by a few points when we had the deep, wide threats. That's what helped us, keep those points coming on the board. And I think with the Bills, if we can score 35 points a game on average, we're going to be winning 95% of those games.
I have zero interest in Tyreek Hill coming to the Buffalo Bills, personally. Zero. And I don't know what kind of player he'll be when he comes back. He had a devastating leg injury. He's a player that's completely built on speed. He's going into his 30s, off a major leg injury, and he's a terrible human being on top of it. So I don't want any part of it.
He's walking charged with this and that, and I just don't see it. I don't think there's a fit for them at all.
None whatsoever for me.
And I don't think he'd be interested either. I think he's going to want to go someplace he's maybe comfortable. Maybe that's Kansas City. I don't know. Maybe does he want to hook up with Baltimore?
I wonder if he sticks in the league anymore.
Oh, I bet he's in the league.
Way, maybe he'll get a shot, but one reason that he hasn't, all this stuff hasn't stuck to him, and there's a list. Every offseason, he's being arrested for putting his hands on somebody. He can't stop doing it. But why has he gotten away with it? Because he's been the best receiver in football. One of the best receivers in football over 5 years. When you're no longer that, are teams going to put up with it?
Yeah.
If you're just decent, are they going to put up with being sued for breaking a woman's leg in the middle of an offseason?
Yeah, I don't.
That's just one of 7.
I'm not interested either.
I don't know that teams will put up with it if he's not valuable enough to them on the field. The way that teams have looked the other way, like in Kansas City and in Miami.
If you want that speed, draft it. Draft that speed. There really aren't many skill sets like him.
You want speed? Go get Alec Pierce.
Pierce.
It's a different kind of speed. But
it definitely is a very different kind of speed. We'll talk about that with Derek Schultz at 8:30 about Alec Pierce and the Colts because they are, maybe going to franchise tag him, maybe move on. They've got a decision with Michael Pittman as well, so that's coming up 8:30. 803-0550, Jeremy and Joe on WGR on 104.7, 107.7 FM as well.